The arena of Graal 7 was unlike anything found on Earth. A crater carved by ancient orbital bombardment, it had been reshaped into a stadium of steel and obsidian. Thousands of alien spectators filled the terraces, each species more exotic than the last, some floating, some glowing, others breathing in rhythms that rippled through the sound field like music. Massive banners flickered with holographic symbols. Every eye was locked on the center pit, where the latest challenger stood alone beneath the twin suns. He was human. Not a warlord or a super soldier. No exosuit clung to his body. No visible weapons hung from his back. He wore a standard-issue pressure suit, partially torn, dust-coated, patched with makeshift fiber mesh. His boots were cracked. His left arm was bandaged. And still, he stood with the quiet presence of a man who had seen worse than this. His name, unknown to the crowd, was Reyes. Earthborn, combat engineer, survivor of the Sol Terek frontline. He'd been captured 6 cycles ago by a rogue trade vessel and sold into the Varnak combat circuit. Now he was here, assigned to face the most feared weapon the galaxy had ever constructed. They called it the Ultimate Hunter. High above him, in the command deck enclosed in black glass, the Varnak overseers observed in silent amusement. These were tall, 4-armed beings with polished Kagan armor and minds as sharp as ion blades. They'd ruled warfare as both sport and science. To them, today was just another display, another victory for their creation, another failure for yet another primitive species. The human is unarmed. One commander asked in their native clicking tongue. Yes, replied another. He refused equipment, claimed he didn't want to owe us anything. Laughter rippled through the Varnak chamber. The arrogance, the absurdity. Yet there was something in the human stillness that made a few of them watch more closely. Down below, Reyes crouched for a moment and touched the ground. The terrain was uneven. Shards of collapsed towers, scorched metallic skeletons of vehicles, and cracked earth riddled with thermal vents. This place had once been a research base. Now it was a graveyard. He wasn't laughing. A loudspeaker boomed in a dozen languages. Prepare for the release of the hunter. The crowd roared. The eastern wall of the arena opened with a hiss of steam and a deep mechanical growl. Something stirred beyond the shadowed gate. Something massive. Reyes exhaled through his nose. No fear, just focus. He turned, not to face the gate, but to walk calmly toward the nearest wreckage. He had 60 seconds before it was upon him. He wouldn't waste it. The countdown began. 60, 59, 58. In the arena of monsters, the human did not pray. He planned. The gate opened slowly, with the heavy screech of locking mechanisms older than some civilizations. Steam poured out in thick waves, rolling across the ground like smoke from a dying world. The temperature dropped. The air changed. Even the crowd fell silent, as if instinct told them to hush in the presence of something far worse than death. The ultimate hunter stepped into the arena. It didn't walk, it stalked. 9 feet tall, hunched and angular, with a sleek frame of bonded alloy and living sinew. Its armor wasn't worn, it was grown. Its movements made no sound, even though it weighed half a ton. The creature was covered in shifting plates that adapted in real time to its environment, flickering from stone gray to sand brown. Its head had no eyes, only a smooth shell with fin slits for sensors, tasting infrared and tracking pulse signatures. It wasn't built to fight. It was built to end. In the upper deck, Varnak spectators leaned forward with gleaming eyes. The announcer's voice returned. Commencing hunt protocol in 10 seconds. Reyes had already disappeared into the ruins. The hunter paused at the center of the arena, turning its head slightly as if sniffing the wind. Then it moved, blindingly fast, straight toward the wreckage zone. It didn't hesitate. It didn't scan. It didn't track prints. It knew. Reyes moved fast but quiet, weaving between shattered pylons and exposed wiring. He'd found a vantage point, a half-buried vent shaft leading under a collapsed tower. He slipped inside and held his breath. He could feel it approaching. The hunter's claws clicked against the floor. It slowed now, switching from sprint to crawl. Every system inside it was calibrated to locate fear. heartbeat irregularities, sweat chemicals, muscle vibrations. It didn't see in the way eyes saw. It read everything. But Race didn't panic. He didn't freeze either. He moved deeper into the shaft, careful not to step on anything loose. The hunter stopped just outside. It tilted its head again. Then it lowered itself on all fours, its body lengthening like liquid metal. One clawed hand scraped across the surface of the vent cover. The shriek of metal echoed through the arena. The audience leaned in. Inside the dark, Reyes closed his eyes. He was counting. Not seconds, patterns. The hunter moved with intention, but it had rhythm. He could hear the delay between clicks, the way its weight shifted. It hunted like something that had never failed. That was its weakness. Nothing that has never failed knows what failure feels like. The hunter growled, just a low electronic rasp, and turned away, vanishing into the rubble again. Reyes waited a full minute before emerging slow and silent. He checked the ground. No footprints. No drag marks. The creature didn't leave traces. That was fine. Neither would he. High above, one of the Varnak commanders frowned. "The human hasn't been found," she said. Another hissed. "It's just toying with him." But deep below, Reyes had already started laying the first trap. He wasn't prey. He was preparing the kill. The arena was a labyrinth of shattered structures and scorched earth, a ruin long forgotten before becoming a stage for brutal contests. Reyes moved carefully, his senses sharp as the slightest sound could betray him. The ultimate hunter was a relentless shadow, moving unseen, but always near. It was hunting, and Reyes knew it wasn't just a machine. It was a predator designed to kill. For hours, the human and the hunter danced through the ruins like ghost and phantom, neither gaining ground. The crowd's excitement grew, the tension palpable. The Varnak overseers watched with increasing curiosity, their amusement slowly shifting to concern. The human was no longer the defenseless quarry they expected. Reyes found himself near an old energy conduit, the rusted skeleton of what was once a power station. He crouched behind a half-collapsed wall, eyes scanning the horizon. He knew the hunter was close. It was listening, calculating, waiting. Suddenly, a faint clicking sound echoed, a signal in the silence. Reyes's heart beat steadily. He gripped a jagged piece of metal he'd sharpened, hidden in his sleeve. The ultimate hunter appeared, its massive frame slipping between the rubble with predatory grace. It paused a few meters away, its sensors sweeping the area in an eerie rhythm. Reyes held his breath. The hunter's gaze, though not human, seemed to pierce through the shadows. Its movements were fluid, deliberate, every step measured. But Reyes had learned its pattern. He knew it hunted by sound and heat, tracking irregularities, chasing any sign of weakness. A plan formed in Reyes's mind. He wasn't here to fight brute force. He was here to outthink. He struck first. Reyes triggered a hidden mechanism, a piece of broken pipe rigged to fall. With a sharp crash, it smashed onto the ground near the hunter's feet. The creature recoiled, its sensors momentarily dazzled by dust and light. Taking advantage of the moment, Reyes lunged forward, jabbing the sharpened metal into a joint of the hunter's armored leg. Metal screeched. Sparks flew. The hunter's reaction was immediate and violent, but it faltered. A thin line of red fluid oozed from the puncture, biosynthetic blood, something no one had expected. The arena gasped. This was no invincible machine. Reyes pulled back, adrenaline surging. The hunter's eyes flared a bright red, its rage unmistakable. It lunged, claws swiping with terrifying speed. Reyes dodged, narrowly avoiding death. He darted behind cover, heart pounding but mind clear. The hunter growled, a low, mechanical rumble, before vanishing into the debris again. For the first time, the predator was wounded. For the first time, it had bled. The crowd was stunned into silence, then erupted with whispers and excited murmurs. The impossible had happened. Reyes wiped sweat from his brow, feeling the weight of the moment settle on his shoulders. He wasn't just fighting to survive anymore. He was fighting to prove something, something the galaxy had never seen before. He would not be prey. he would be the hunter's equal. The arena's massive holoscreen zoomed in on the damaged joint, displaying the crimson fluid leaking slowly from the ultimate hunter's armored leg. The crowd fell silent, eyes wide with disbelief. Across the stands, countless species whispered, struggling to grasp what they were witnessing. The hunter, the perfect killing machine, was bleeding. The Varnak commanders exchanged uneasy glances. Their creation was supposed to be unstoppable, immune to anything short of total destruction. Yet here it was, wounded and vulnerable. On the broadcast feed streaming across the galaxy, the human challenger had just done the unthinkable. Reyes crouched behind the wreckage, muscles tense but calm. He didn't celebrate. There was no time. The hunter would adapt, and it would come for him harder than ever before. But this was more than a fight for survival now. It was a challenge to the galaxy's arrogance. The hunter's sensors flickered, analyzing the damage. Its mechanical limbs hissed as hydraulic pressure dropped. A synthetic growl emitted from deep inside its core. The fluid wasn't just paint or oil. It was bioengineered blood, designed to mimic the instincts of living predators. The pain sensors triggered a reaction no one had anticipated. The hunter lashed out, smashing nearby debris as it searched for its assailant. Reyes stayed low, breathing steadily. He pulled from his pack a small container of acidic gel, scavenged from a ruined supply depot, and prepared a second trap. Every second counted. Above, the Varnak audience murmured nervously. Some speculated the human's victory was impossible. Others felt a strange thrill at seeing a primitive species take the fight to the ultimate hunter. Bets shifted wildly. On a dozen planets, gamblers scrambled to change their wagers. Reyes moved silently, circling the hunter's last known position. The creature's footsteps shook the ground, irregular now, revealing a favoring of its injured leg. The hunter was slower, more predictable. Reyes's lips curved in a grim smile. He wasn't just fighting to survive. He was hunting now. The hunter suddenly charged from behind a collapsed column, claws extended, rage boiling in its synthetic voice. Reyes dove aside, rolling over rough concrete. The acid gel slipped from his fingers and spilled on the ground, sizzling as it ate through metal shards. The hunter recoiled, its damaged limb flaming in the corrosive liquid. Pain sensors flared wildly. The hunter screamed, a low, terrifying sound that shook the arena's walls. Reyes took the moment to strike again, stabbing a sharpened pipe deep into a joint exposed by the corrosion. The hunter faltered, a spray of red fluid splattering across the cracked earth. The crowd gasped, the tension now electric. "Impossible," whispered a Varnak commander. But Reyes didn't hear them. His focus was absolute. As the hunter retreated briefly, Reyes allowed himself a breath. His thoughts drifted to Earth, the dense forests, the harsh deserts, the wars fought with grit and determination. This fight was no different. The human spirit wasn't about weapons or armor. It was about heart. And now the galaxy was watching. Reyes wiped the sweat from his brow and prepared for the next move. Because the ultimate hunter wasn't the only predator on this battlefield anymore. The arena seemed to pulse with a new energy, the air thick with anticipation. The hunter was wounded, but far from defeated. Its red sensors glowed brighter, scanning every shadow, every heat signature with renewed ferocity. It was learning, adapting. The hunt had changed, and so had its prey. Reyes moved with cautious confidence, weaving through the ruins like a shadow born of dust and steel. He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was dictating the flow of the battle. Every step was deliberate, every breath measured. He left no careless footprints, no stray heat signatures to give himself away. He set small traps along narrow corridors, rigged debris that could fall and trap the hunter's limbs, makeshift noisemakers to distract and mislead. He used the environment like a weapon, turning broken machinery and rusted pipes into tools of survival. The arena, once an advantage for the hunter's brute power and speed, was now a maze of deadly surprises. Reyes recalled the ancient stories from Earth, tales of humans outsmarting predators far larger and stronger. He remembered how hunters used animal calls and mimicry, tricks passed down through generations. Now in this far-off world, those old skills were coming to life. He imitated the calls of distant creatures, soft and low, echoing through the tunnels. The hunter paused, sensors flickering as it processed the sound. It adjusted its course, chasing false leads. Ray smiled grimly. He was controlling the hunt. Hours stretched on. The hunter grew more cautious, its attacks calculated instead of reckless. Ray could feel its frustration, like a cornered beast aware of its wounds but refusing to yield. His own body ached from exhaustion, bruises and cuts staining his skin beneath the pressure suit. But his mind was sharper than ever. The crowd watched, enraptured by the shifting battle. The story unfolding was no longer about a fragile human against a perfect machine. It was a clash of instincts, intelligence, and willpower. Viewers from countless worlds debated who would emerge victorious. Ray paused at a makeshift barricade, catching his breath. The hunter's footsteps echoed nearby, slow, deliberate, hunting. He checked his pack, finding a small vial of concentrated smoke compound, a leftover from old Earth survival kits. With steady hands, he prepared a quick trap, ready to cloud the hunter's sensors when the moment came. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground. The hunter charged from behind a pile of rubble, claws extended, eyes blazing. Ray threw the smoke vial to the ground. A thick gray cloud exploded, choking the arena in a haze. The hunter hesitated, its sensors overwhelmed. Ray used the moment to sprint toward a narrow passage, disappearing from sight. The game had shifted. The hunter was no longer the relentless predator. It was wary, reactive, uncertain. And the human? He was the hunter now. The arena was bathed in the pale light of the rising sun, casting long shadows across the shattered remains of what had once been a proud research facility. The air smelled of scorched metal and dust, mixed with the faint, sharp tang of blood, both synthetic and human. The ultimate hunter's movements had slowed. The wound in its leg throbbed with every step, leaking the alien red fluid that shimmered unnervingly in the morning light. Its adaptive armor, once flawless, was scarred and cracked, exposed wiring sparking faintly beneath the damaged plates. Ray watched from behind a collapsed steel beam, muscles tense but steady. He was bruised, his pressure suit torn in places, his breathing heavy but controlled. The human's left arm hung useless at his side, the result of a brutal swipe from the hunter in the previous encounter. Yet his eyes burned with unwavering determination. The hunter charged suddenly, breaking cover with a terrifying roar, a soundless vibration that rippled through the ground. It was desperate, furious. It lunged across the open courtyard, claws outstretched, aiming to end this now. Ray dodged at the last second, feeling the rush of air as the claws sliced through the space where he had just stood. He sprinted toward a pile of rubble and debris, his trap. The hunter was faster, but the terrain was Reyes's ally. As the hunter crossed the courtyard, it failed to notice the weakened support beam hidden beneath the dust and rubble. With a shuddering crack, the beam collapsed, sending a shower of debris crashing down. The hunter roared again, caught under the falling metal. A steel rod, twisted and jagged, impaled its side. Sparks erupted where metal met synthetic flesh. The beast struggled, trapped beneath the weight, its red blood pooling on the cracked earth. The crowd gasped in unison, the noise echoing across the arena. For the first time, the ultimate hunter had been brought down. Ray didn't hesitate. He approached cautiously, every step measured. He could feel the heavy gaze of the watchers from above, the billions watching across the galaxy. But his focus was on the fallen predator before him. The hunter's eyes flickered erratically, the glow fading in and out like a dying star. It lashed out weakly, claws scraping at the ground, trying to rise, but the damage was too severe. Ray raised a battered metal pipe, prepared to end the hunt once and for all. But then the hunter's voice, a distorted, low growl, filled the air. Human, why? Ray froze. The hunter's eyes locked onto him, filled with something almost like recognition. It wasn't just a machine anymore. It was a creature fighting for survival, a warrior pushed to its limits. Ray lowered the pipe slightly. Because you hunted me first. The hunter's systems began to shut down. Its breathing slowed, the glow dimmed, and then darkness claimed it. Ray stood over the ultimate hunter's broken form, chest heaving, wounds aching. The fall of the hunter was not just a victory. It was proof that even the most perfect predator could bleed. Silence fell over the arena, heavy and complete. The ultimate hunter lay motionless beneath the shattered steel and rubble, its red blood seeping into the cracked earth. The crowd's roar had faded into a stunned hush. No one had expected the hunt to end like this. Ray stood tall despite his battered body, the pain sharp but distant compared to the pounding of his heart. The galaxy was watching, waiting for his next move. He wiped the sweat and blood from his brow and looked up toward the command deck where the Varnak overseers sat, their usual cold amusement replaced by something close to disbelief. The lead commander, a tall figure with 4 gleaming arms, rose slowly. Its mandibles clicked in a rhythm that echoed like a warning. "Human," it said in halting common, "you have done what no one before has managed. You have bled the ultimate hunter. You have survived its hunt. And now you stand victorious." Race said nothing at first. Victory felt surreal, almost foreign. But beneath that, a fire burned. Proof that even the smallest spark could ignite a galaxy. "You are supposed to be prey," the commander continued, "an example to the weaker species, to show that no one can escape the hunter's grasp." Ray stepped forward, steady despite exhaustion. "I wasn't prey. I was a fighter. You made your monster to kill, but you forgot one thing. Humans don't give up. We don't just survive. We adapt, we learn, and we fight back." The Varnak commander's mandibles twitched, a sign of respect or frustration. It was hard to tell. "Your spirit is unusual. It changes the rules." Across the arena, the crowd erupted again, this time in cheers. The legend of the ultimate hunter's fall was already spreading. Rays knew this was bigger than a battle. It was a turning point. But the command deck's doors slid open. A new figure stepped forward, tall, cloaked, eyes burning with cold calculation. This was the arena's architect, the one who designed the ultimate hunter and controlled the games. The hunter was only the beginning, the architect said. "Your victory is impressive, human, but the galaxy is vast. You have won one battle, not the war." Rays met the architect's gaze without flinching. "Then I'll fight every battle. Because no matter how many hunters you send, humans will never stop fighting." The architect smiled, a thin, cruel smile. "We shall see." As the doors closed, Rais looked out over the arena, the cheers still ringing in his ears. The hunter was down, but the fight was far from over. He had proven something vital. Strength wasn't just in power or technology. It was in heart, in will. And that was a lesson no one in the galaxy would forget. The arena's echoes of cheers faded as Reyes stood alone amidst the ruins, the weight of victory settling on his shoulders. The ultimate hunter lay silent behind him, a testament to his resolve and the indomitable spirit of humanity. But Reyes knew this was only the beginning, a spark that would ignite a fire far beyond this forsaken battlefield. Across the galaxy, broadcasts showed the fall of the so-called perfect predator. Planets that had once viewed humans as weak and primitive now whispered a new truth. The human who bled the ultimate hunter had shattered expectations and rewritten the rules. For the first time, many saw humanity not as prey, but as a force to reckon with. Reyes felt the stirrings of change in the air. Messages poured in, alliances forming, old enemies reconsidering their views, and even the Varnak overseeing the games began to question their supremacy. The human spirit, resilient and relentless, had become a beacon. Back on Earth, news networks celebrated the victory. Children watched wide-eyed, inspired by the tale of a single human standing against an unstoppable machine and winning. Scientists debated the biological secrets revealed in the hunter's blood. Strategists reconsidered humanity's place in the interstellar balance. Reyes, despite his wounds, refused to rest. He began to train others, sharing the knowledge that had allowed him to survive and overcome. He taught not just combat, but strategy, patience, and the power of adaptability. The story of the ultimate hunter became more than legend. It became a movement. The Varnak commanders, humble but wary, prepared new challenges. But they also respected the human who had defied their expectations. Some even sought to understand the strength behind human perseverance, hoping to study it, maybe even emulate it. Yet Reyes knew the true lesson was simple. It wasn't about weapons or technology. It was about the heart, the will to stand, to fight, and to never yield. The hunter had taught him that. And now, humanity was ready. For whatever the galaxy might throw next, they would face it head-on. Because in every corner of the universe, they would carry the legacy of the human who made the ultimate hunter bleed.